Okay, welcome to another video critique. This week we're looking at Beth Graham's work, and yeah, as usual, I'm going to go through. I'm going to talk about the images, just in terms of how well they succeed as images, and then we're going to talk about how well they fulfilled the requirements of each assignment. So, just starting off here, I like what's going on here. I like this sort of series here. Repetition of shapes, circle, 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 line, line, line. This is nice. There's sort of a repetition with a really nice amount of visual variety. This is something I want to get into a little bit. When you use your gray card, you want to make sure that the light that's hitting the gray card is the same as the light that's hitting whatever your subject is. So if this is the light, if this is the subject, this is what you care most about getting properly exposed, then you want the gray card to have the same light on it here that it does here. Otherwise, it doesn't work as well as sort of a exposure and color neutralizing element. So if you were to, use this to balance this, you end up with something like this. And that's because, again, the light here is significantly brighter. So again, when you take your reading, you neutralize this and use that as your neutral value. This gets pretty blown out. So yeah, original, global, and then global and local. That's fine. This is fluorescent. This almost looks like it could be daylight. Just looking at that. Proceeding on here, this is a little bit underexposed here, as is this. Take a look at the other two here. So yeah, this actually, by the time she gets to her global and local here, actually looks fairly good. It's still a little soft. It looks like maybe the focus is possibly falling back here rather than on the main subject there, but and this I actually like quite a bit. I think that it has a lot of the same things that were going on in that fishing rods, the different reels up there. You got, again, repetition of shapes. I have always been a fan of this sort of light shining off of metal here, but again, focus is not there. So it's a tough one. That has a lot of potential. So those are her fluorescent. As you guys recall, there are 4 different lighting situations, so that's the first one. And I'm guessing, okay, indoor. Sorry, okay. Sorry, that thing was annoying me. This is nice. Original's a little bit flat, maybe. And so you bumped it up using your global. This is nice. The only thing that I see here that I kind of want to see here is there's just a little bit of detail right in there. That detail in there is the sort of thing where in a local correction you could come back in and sort of bring some of that back right in here. It's just like a slight, like this is slightly different than that, and you can just make out that line where that paper comes back through the typewriter and is overlapping right there. Otherwise, this looks great. I like that. Just a little bit of color in there. Very nice. Okay. So again, this is nice. We're talking about that gray card having the same light on it as the rest of the subject. It's a great example of it. This is pretty good. I do like, again, the way that the light is sort of catching this right here. It's a nice little scene there. This is underexposed. This is pretty close. Again, I don't know if it's just that it seems. I wonder if I can zoom in here. So I was saying there, not sure if it. Oh, kind of running off my screen here. Well, shoot. Anyway, okay. Sorry, digression there. I'm not sure if this is just slightly different than that, in terms of how the light is hitting it, or if it's just because that's glass and there's a lot more light available there. Again, this is the sort of thing, exactly like if you are using your gray card here, but you're trying to get your exposure value here, this is obviously not the same light here as here, direct sun, shade. However, if you're going for this part to be the proper exposure and the proper, you know, um, color balance, then that is where you want it. And then, yeah, that looks okay. Alright, so this is, I actually think that the image is fine here. It's almost too contrasty here, but I guess it didn't look contrasty enough because this is, or maybe, oh yeah, contrast, because this is, the darks are pushed down, darker, and the highlights are way blown out. So in the end, this is just too much. It does do an interesting thing here with the color, but it's, we call this hot. This image is very hot. The highlights are very bright. You can see not really any detail coming through. Here's a case where I can zoom and maybe we'll get to see it better. Alright, so see, you can look and it's like this is good right along the edge there. Like in these highlights, there's just no detail. You really, there's not too many instances where you want to have just pure white, no detail in there. Oh, I know how to operate a computer, hopefully. Zoom in. Okay. So, again, a little hot. This is actually really nice. The exposures all look really good. You got some mixed lighting coming in here. Sorry, window light. And some incandescent light sort of combined here. But this is nice. There's like a crispness here that I'm enjoying. It's tough to say. This looks like it could be flash because there's things like this. There's a series of highlights here, and crispness, and sort of these two highlights. I think though those are just the windows. I think this is just coming from the window light. But yes, very nice use of mixed lighting here. And I'm definitely not going to take off any points or try and say like this is not incandescent. It clearly is incandescent. It's right next to an incandescent light source. I just thought it was nice to have both. Going in here. Sorry, I'm just going to zoom out again a little. Okay. Again, a little too contrasty here. You can see I can see what you were going for here. This is maybe just slightly flat. But this is, yeah, darks are too dark. Highlights are getting blown out, so it's a little bit much. Again, you get some nice, that's just slightly dark. Maybe this one, this original incandescent. I like, this is nice. Everything's well defined, really well lit. And yeah, I mean, I would say that is definitely a slight improvement. Again, you don't want to push it too far with boosting your contrast. So, very nice, very nice. So let's look at her two contact sheets with the 8 favorite images. So, this is her global adjustments. And Yeah, I mean, there's a real mix here between things that look really good, and things that that's tough because I like this image that Great Card's distracting, but obviously she had to put it in there because that's the assignment. So this looks good in terms of where your values are falling. This looks pretty good. That's losing some detail and highlights. That's losing some detail and highlights. Um, just a little contrasty. Very nice. And then let me flip over to her global and local. Go ahead and zoom in a couple zooms here. Nice, nice. Okay. Yeah. And then it looks like maybe she brought it back some in here. Maybe it was looking hot, so she threw on a curved layer and then masked it so that it was bringing back some of these highlights. That's how I would have done it. This is still just a hair dark, which is tough because with all this light in here, instead of like a real lighter background with a darker subject matter, that can happen. This looks good. I would say that's the best version over all of that. And yeah, it looks like here, seeing some evidence of some maybe, I don't think dodging and burning. I think this is just selectively brought this area back. This looks nice. Still overexposed there. Still too contrasty here. But yeah, there's sort of a richness in some of these areas of the brown here that are very nice. So nice work, Beth. Definitely a range here. But the nice ones are really working, and the other ones, it's more like they're elements that aren't quite there, but like the image itself, like there's a nice sort of visually pleasing thing going on here with the sort of curves and the kind of repetition of form within a variety of forms. So I think, again, a lot can be said for this. Sort of a nice tonal range in areas like this, sort of nice light fall off. You get the letters. The human eye is always attracted to letters, so that's going to be a really sort of a good element to play with. Circles, patterns, repetition of shape, but then deviation from the pattern that gives sort of a nice sense of visual interest. So yeah, great job, Beth. And trying to think of a fun, that word at the end, like a fun word, but my brain is fried. So how about big fish? Seems appropriate with the fishing reels here. So yes, B-I-G, first word, F-I-S-H. In case you have any trouble with my northern accent, those of you from the south, I don't know. Clearly, I'm losing it. All right. Well, good night, and well, you're probably watching this during the. If you're watching this at night, good night. I'm not recording this at night. Otherwise, good day, goodbye,